Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe der Klemmbaustein-Lyrik. Heute mal wieder mit einem Interview, und das ist leider auch das letzte, das ich noch führen durfte auf den Fan Media Days Ende Mai 2021 mit Lego-Designern. Diesmal zum Thema Star Wars. Unterstützt wurde ich von Max, den sieht man klein unten rechts, von zusammengebaut.com. Vielen Dank dafür und ab geht's. Thank you that you have the time for us to talk a little bit about Star Wars and Lego. Perhaps it's possible to introduce yourself at the beginning? Who you are?
I'm Jens Kronwald Frederiksen, and I'm a creative lead and design director on Lego Star Wars, meaning I'm responsible for the product design of Lego Star Wars.
And I'm Michael Lee Stockwell, and I am a design manager on Lego Star Wars. And I'm trying to assist Jens keeping things running, and at the same time doing as much model design as I can find time for. That's me.
And we have also, if this can be published on YouTube, we have down there's also Max. He's from Zusammengebaut. Thank you, Max, that you also join. He's also a big Star Wars fan, so I hope he has some perhaps also interesting questions. If you have questions, Max, perhaps raise your hand. I have a look on you.
Yeah.
So I think this will be the easiest way. Perhaps before we start, can you tell us a little bit about your history? How was your way to go to Lego? I think a lot of people, also Star Wars fans, had a dream to work for Lego. What was your story to go to Lego?
Well, I can say for me it was a little bit of a coincidence. I played with Lego all the time when I was a kid, and I was a huge fan, but I never saw it as a job opportunity. It was not something I was dreaming about as a kid, but it was something that came, coincidence, because I have some creative stuff that I'm doing, scale model building, and some people from Lego saw that I was pretty good at that, and then they wanted to hire me as a freelance designer. But before I even started, I actually applied and got a job as a permanent position as a designer. But that's more than 23 years ago now. Mm. So that's how I came into Lego.
Okay, thank you.
And my background is totally different. I'm been in Denmark for many years, but I grew up originally from Canada. Grew up there. And was trained and worked as a goldsmith and jewelry designer for about 19 years, if I remember correctly. And then looking for a change of pace, I was in Denmark, so I was lucky enough to be accepted into the Lego family. I applied for a job and got in, and I haven't looked back since. I think it's it won't be 14, 15 years soon coming up, so it's been quite a while. But it's been a great run.
And you both only work for the Star Wars products, or you have a portfolio all around what's happening at Lego at products?
Well, currently we are working for Lego Star Wars only right now. It's such a big project that there's enough to do all the time. But here in Lego, designers, they are working for different areas, and same thing. There's also one of the older designers right now working in Lego Star Wars. He's been working half a year now on Lego City. Mm. That's always good inspiration, and it's also good to not become too specialized, but also see how is it working in other areas. I have to say we are maybe a little bit specialized. I've been working with Lego Star Wars almost solely for more than 20 years since the beginning. I have done other things in between, and you've also been.
I've been here for also many years, so I think, it just, we try to put people where the need is for a certain profile.
So I think you have some sets there, as I see. I haven't seen before, so perhaps we can talk about them. To introduce this, how keen you are that there are now a lot of new TV shows in the Star Wars area, and you are not restricted anymore to the old films and have new stuff where you can produce sets for. Is this something you expected, you like, or is it something or would you like more to do the same things every year of the old movies?
Well, I think or actually for us, it's just fantastic that there are those new things coming. And to be quite honest, also when it's as great as it is, I have to say The Mandalorian, it's a fantastic show. I think also now Bad Batch shows to be a really, really good show. So all these new things give us a lot of new opportunities to make a lot of new great Lego sets. I think it would be boring if we were only to make TIE fighters and X-Wings all the time. We need some new spice. Not saying, though, that these classic things, they will always be on shelf. No matter how much new stuff there is, there will always be these classics around.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's fun to have the more new content, the more interesting it is, for both for us and for the fans.
How much information you get beforehand of new? Also, I know from interviews before. I think also we met perhaps some years ago, and I think one of the big problems is even I know from the movies that you only get some information, and perhaps some information can change later after you designed a ship and something like that, and it's difficult to find really what you later find in the movie. Is now with the TV shows, it's easier, you get more information or earlier information, or you wait longer, or is it the same problem?
Well, it's like, how do you say, we have a very close cooperation with Lucas Disney, and they're trying to help us as much as they can, giving us the needed information. But it is always a challenge, because when we're developing the products, that's about the same time as they're filming or creating the TV content or the TV series. So it is a challenge. I would say when it's vehicles, when it's ships, that's a little bit easier. Where play sets, where it's a scene, you need to know more of the story. That's always a little bit more of a challenge. But Lucas Disney, they are also keeping secrets, because just a good example, when we developed the Light Cruiser here and included minifigures, we didn't know anything about Luke. If you are asking why is Luke Skywalker not here, because we simply didn't know that he would appear in the show.
So that was a surprise for us too.
Yeah. So there are things they're keeping secret, and for understandable reasons, because it is something they want to, how do you say, it was the same as Grogu. Well, we had a little hint. We knew about Grogu, but we couldn't make anything related to Grogu.
It was so top secret, we weren't allowed to develop. Yeah.
And that's understandable, because Lucas Disney, of course, would be super sad if something like that leaked before the show, and it would be a total spoiler. Yeah.
So this was the reason the Razor Crest was announced, but it was published some months later. So Grogu was the reason. Yeah.
Exactly. It was just to give us that window that we needed to develop the Grogu character.
Yeah.
Okay. And you knew beforehand the destiny of the Razor Crest? Was you informed about this?
No.
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 Okay.
So else we would have made a blow-up function in the model.
I see Max has a question.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me here and also asking me, giving me the opportunity to ask something. So I have another question concerning The Mandalorian. So during the past months, there was a clash between Disney and the actress of Cara Dune, and other companies like Hasbro shut down their production of the character of the action figures. Did that also affect your design process in some models, or did you have to replace the character with another character?
Well, she's actually, she is in the lineup for the Light Cruiser. And she's in here because she is an important character in the show. And as we see it here, what we are making here, that's a Lego minifigure representation of, of a character from the TV show. It's not the actor. So for us, it really doesn't matter, because it's, this is the character that we are representing in Lego.
We don't know if their plans turned out to be that they were going to replace the actor but keep the character in the show, then it wouldn't make sense for us to take that character out. So that's why.
And no matter what, she is an important character in that scene, so she should be there. So,
but of course, there were dialogues with Lucas and Disney. How do we address this? But we quickly came to an agreement that we didn't see any real problem keeping that character in.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
What we can see there on your table?
Should we run you through it?
Yes.
I don't know if we. I think we can do it relatively quick, and then you can just stop us if there's something you want to ask, because there's a lot of models, as you can see. What we've got here, that's our summer launch wave, so it's our August products, and we have a couple of sets also for September. So I think if we just quickly show the models, then first, take the one that's here in front, meditation chamber. You can see Michael showing here the box that it's coming in the it's 18 plus, and it's a display model, and it is in our adult packaging style. And the model doesn't really have a lot of functions. You can open and close here, and it's very much about the visual appeal. It was never thought as a playset. It is a display thing. And the minifigures, General Wears and Darth Vader.
One maybe cool thing is here, I'll just take this off. There's a screen with a sticker on the back, which mimics the choking scene from that part of the film. So, and there are minifigure versions of the characters from that scene in this screen that's behind. So that's a nice addition.
Is there a different kind of design process doing designs for adults, for presentation and for play? What you have different in mind when this and this you have to design?
Well, it's different. One of the things is that we can take more liberties when we're designing for an older age group, because we can use elements that are maybe similarly colored or shaped that would confuse younger age groups. So that allows us to achieve, in some cases, a higher level of detail, because we know that the adults are also looking for a certain level of building challenge. That's part of the thing, part of the whole thing. But I would say that's the main difference.
Yeah, in general, as you say, we how do you say, it's more about, for these products, it's a higher complexity in general that we can, where there are things we couldn't get away with for a product age mark for a 7-year-old, because it wouldn't be capable of building it. So that's really, we also know with something like that, it's the visual appeal also on the finished model. So there are more details on these.
And the stability that we always are very focused on achieving in a model that we know an 8-year-old is going to be playing with. It's important that whatever functionality in that model, if there is in that model, that it stands up to a certain level of playability. Whereas these adult models, we also are designing for them to be primarily display pieces. Therefore, there's not a lot of functionality in them, and they're not meant to be rigorously played with as such. So that also can have an effect on things.
So also is I think this was one of the questions of my community, that, for example, the Bad Batch shuttle has also these speeders, where some people say, do we really need the speeders? Isn't it better to put all the bricks in the not really bigger shuttle? Is this the decision because it's 9+, it's for children to have something, different things to play with? Was this to put the speeders inside it? Is it because of the swooshability or the playability?
Yeah, it was simply to, how do you say, thought as added value. Because here we have a really good size shuttle. You can fit minifigures inside. They can fit two here and two here in the front. And it's swooshable. It's a really stable model that can be played with. So we thought, and we also have used the cockpit and the elements that actually also define a good size of the model. And then we want to add some more value to the set. And that's why we decided on the speeders. So
and it's also play value. That gives
yes.
We've got the characters, you have the speeders, you have the ship. There's a lot more, many more combinations that you can play with because it is still primarily thought of as a toy for children. Although we know that collectors and fans are also very interested. But another thing is that we've had a lot of really positive response with the latest versions of our TIE Fighter and our X-Wing and our Imperial Shuttle. They're smaller scale versions of them. So we hear from not only actually from fans that they really appreciate being able to get a fairly detailed model at a lower price point.
Yep, I think this is also the lower price point is something I think is also the reaction I knew from not the shuttle but the rest. Yes. So what's what we see also there on the table?
Well, then there was where were we? That was the sorry, I was just off track. We had that one. Then we have the Mandalorian Starfighter continuing from Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, okay.
So here it is in landed mode. Pretty cool feature with the wings. We've had one. Some might remember we've done one related to Clone Wars years ago. It was called, I think it was called the Gauntlet at that time.
Yeah, it
was.
was.
It's still the Mandalorian Starfighter, and you can see new color scheme. I think pretty cool color scheme here. And a model where you can fit 2 minifigures in cockpits. There's shooting function both here on the hull and one in each wing. And might have
this is the character lineup. Gar Saxon is a brand new helmet, and we use that helmet also in the armor scene. I'll show you that in a bit. We have what's her name?
Yeah,
I'm just blanking now.
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, really strong. The jetpacks whole all the way across. So good, strong lineup for Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Yes. And then while we mentioned it, I can just take this one quickly. This was the forge scene from the Mandalorian, and here the character lineup. There you have. See if I can get the white background. There you have the armor. The helmet is in gold now, and then Paz Vizsla and the Mandalorian. Jetpacks on both of those guys, and there's a new armor piece for Paz Vizsla as well, and that armor piece we're using for our Dark Trooper as well as one of the Bad Batch characters.
Yeah,
I think Max has a question.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question concerning the armor scene. Is it more difficult to design such a scene than designing a ship? Because I think the scene is in a whole room, and I know you can't produce the complete room. But is it more difficult to design such a small, just a small piece of the scene, comparing to like designing the light cruiser?
Well, it's something that, how do you say, it's a different approach when doing this. But we have designers in the team that are just experts in doing these playsets. We know what kind of ingredients, how do you say, features and functions that kids enjoy, and also fans, by the way. But with something like that, then we are watching the sequence over and over again, and then we're, how do you say, looking at what is visually strong things. Like, for instance, here you have the entrance with the logo printed on, and you have what happens in there, and then we try to incorporate as much of that, and also on top of that to add some extra, how do you say, play features and functions. Often some that are maybe not even in the movie, but just because it's fun.
Yeah, like we have this cabinet that opens here with some decoration in the back of some of the tools that she uses. It can also be removed from that area. Then you've got, of course, the area where you melt the Beskar steel and the stamping tools that she uses. So it's about learning all those details and incorporating them. And what we talked about when you asked earlier about whether we know what's going on any more than you guys know, and that's the real difficult challenge that we have with playsets. Without having seen the scene and know the context, it's very, very difficult to develop. We can develop a ship based on still images, but it's not easy to do a scene like that if we don't see a sequence.
Was this also a question for travel on Tatooine? I think the Mandalorian said for the second season, where some people realized it's a little bit strange which minifigures were chosen, and some very special things of this episode are missing, others are more stressed. Is this the reason you haven't seen the episode yourself, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, it is simply because at that time, it's so early that it might not even be filmed yet. That for us, it can be very hard to understand the full context. Yeah. So that's why sometimes you feel that are things missing, and that's also why, for instance, Luke is not present in this lineup. That's just how it is. But we definitely bring in as much newness as we can in the scenes. But the play sets, they are often more difficult than the ships.
And the thing is that if we don't act as soon as possible, then we risk losing the interest of the consumer if we wait to the next launch. And that's why we want to be there when everybody's mind is focused on these new series. So it's a gamble sometimes, but we try and go for the strongest elements, and if we can capture enough of that, then usually it works out pretty good.
I think we only have 3-4 minutes left, so perhaps show the highlights. I think the big one.
Yeah, so the Imperial Light Cruiser, of course, that's the biggest model. Usually, or as usual, when we're doing these big models, here's the bridge that's actually working as a handle, so it's switchable. And then, Michael is showing the minifigures.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So.
You keep talking. I'm just going to hold.
No, it's just okay. Yeah, and then the model can open up the full interior inside. And another function here. This is like what do you call it? Not a rammer. It's a
launcher.
Eject function, because there are two. Tiny mounted here on the side
with printed cockpits.
Yes, one by round tile with exact, octagonal or whatever. Window print. Yeah. And they can be placed here in the front of the ship. And now I'm out of the camera, and then you can actually launch the TIE fighter from there.
Cool.
There are gun turrets here on top, each with two spring-loaded shooters. And then
and the
super cool lineup.
Cool lineup of characters. We have a brand new Dark Trooper here, and using that armor piece that I was talking about earlier, Cara Dune, Fennec Shand, brand new helmet there, Moff Gideon, and of course the Mandalorian, and he's got a spear, Moff Gideon with his dark saber. So strong lineup, Grogu, of course.
Cool. Do you know how many pieces?
Oh, I don't think I can tell you right away, because
these are the European packages.
Okay, yes. I know the product.
Many pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have to come to an end. Max, have you a final question?
Just a personal question to you. Do you more appreciate designing models from like the big movies, like the original trilogy, the prequels or the sequels, or do you like more designing these new Disney Plus show sets at the moment?
It's to be quite honest, it's probably we've done the classic so many times now, I think, and it's always nice to see if we can we do some things to make them even better than the previous one. But it's also super interesting with something with a design that is brand new, because then it's a totally new thing. So it's hard to say.
It's hard to say, but it can also be something. See, I did this 20th anniversary Slave One, and I also did this, but the same ship, but two drastically different scales, new challenges. So it's fun. Both, it doesn't really matter. And we always, even if we've been there before and are revisiting a model, we're always starting from the ground up and redoing them. So, but new material is fresh and interesting.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So we like both.
Okay, wonderful. So yeah, we are looking forward. What's coming next? I think I have so many questions still, but I think we have to come to an end. So yeah, thank you very much. Or if you have, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, happy Christmas, everyone. Cool. So,
it's Mandalorian based, I think.
The Mandalorian, but not with the Christmas hat, but Christmas top.
It's solely focused on the Mandalorian.
They're cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. Not mentioning what's next products. I know you do not have to. It's not allowed to talk about. But when you are working now on products, will they the products for next year or the year after this? How many months and years before you are working on products?
Well, right now we are working on products that are for 2022 second half year or in season or whatever you call it, and then soon after we'll start on 2023.
Okay. So
I mean, we have a lot of the office is full of sketch models that we've developed throughout time that we feel are really good, and we hope that we could maybe come back to a revisit. And sometimes in periods where we are less busy, we can pull one of these things out and develop a little more with that, not knowing for sure when it or if it will materialize. But due to the fact that we don't really know what's going to be current in 23, 4, or beyond, therefore it's really difficult to plan.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so we have to leave. You have the next guys. So thank you very much. Very interesting, nice models. And hope to see you again in Billund perhaps next year. Bye.
Yeah.
Great.
Goodbye.
Bye.